Now it's time for you to grab a crystal ball and share your top three, five, whatever predictions you have or major shifts that you expect to see in the industry this year.
Yeah, so the place that I've been focused recently is really about agents and operations. Sometimes people call it AI ops. There's been the whole MCP thing. But what I find fascinating is that the focus to date has been on AI assisted coding and AI assisted operations. There's very little work being done. I mean, it's not none. There are people absolutely working on it, but it's not the level that needs to be. It's nowhere near the level of attention that's being paid for software development. And we're even starting to see that inside now. We have these large deals we are working on for AI infrastructure. Can't really go into any detail about them, but we're trying to figure out how do we automate everything top to bottom? How does the AI factory be something that can manage itself for the most part? And so we're really asking ourselves some interesting questions about how to apply AI agents to operations, top to bottom, networking, storage, bare metal, virtualization, cluster management, every aspect of an AI factory. Another area which is really interesting is we think, or at least I think, MCP is going to break out this year. Last year was kind of like this idea that MCP goes into a foundation and it gets, sort of like a certain, momentum around it, and that ecosystem becomes something that flourishes. And I'm convinced that this is the year that that's just a done deal. I don't think that there's really going to be any other protocols for the most case for agents. They'll just keep extending the MCP protocol. And related to this, an area that I'm really fascinated with and that I've been talking about on LinkedIn and stuff is that it seems like the era of kind of the custom agents is going to go away. So to date, people have been doing a lot of things where they build custom agents, but it seems like these general purpose agents like Cloud Code, you said you've been using a lot of MCP servers and tools as well, Swap, but it seems like Cloud Code and Codex and Gemini and Goose and all those different general purpose agents can basically be put to domain specific purposes by combining skills and tools in the form of MCP servers to basically attack domain specific problems. And I think that what that allows you to do is ride the models, to ride the innovation that happens in those general purpose agents. And I just think that's a trend that's going to be ongoing. I think 80-90% of most agentic use cases can probably be solved with those general purpose agents. I think another thing that's going to be very interesting and that kind of brings together these last two things I talked about, general purpose agents and the rise of MCP, is that I think we've already seen the beginnings and we'll see more of general purpose agents writing code that then is pushed to MCP servers to execute on their behalf. So little notice feature capability that came out in the last MCP protocol spec was tasks. So tasks are something that you could set as a long running capability on an MCP server and then go back and check in asynchronously at a later time. And I think that's going to get combined with running custom code. So what's an example of what that might look like? I did this recent kind of proof of concept called Nightcryer that I posted about on LinkedIn. And that was about creating a triage agent that can be automatically dispatched when there's a problem in production. Well, it's not triggered by a human. It's not triggered by a developer. It's triggered by events in production. But what are those events in production? How do you know whether something that goes wrong or a fault or an event in a Kubernetes cluster is something you care about? Well, now a general purpose agent can basically write the code that has the rules and the actions that create the triggers for doing an automated action like a triage event, and it can update that code on a regular basis. So I think more and more we're going to see that the MCP protocol and MCP servers can be extended, and they'll be extended dynamically by agents making decisions about what the agent thinks it needs, and then pushing that information as code and having it run server side. So I think that's something that we'll see really start to get big this year.